they are attempting to perpetuate Hey, welcome back to the Oak and Ember podcast. I'm the host and founder, Garrett Hines, and I hope you are having a chillier day than I am, because here in Texas, it's not even 7 o'clock in the morning, and I am already sweating. Yes, it's like that. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm thankful to live in the state that I live in, but summers are challenging. And I'm drinking my coffee because I haven't had any yet, and I like to have a cup of coffee in the morning. Man, we got a great show today. I hope you're having a great day. I'm so glad you're here. Originally I had this whole plan that I wanted to do for today. Wrote out my episode notes, all the things, everything that I wanted to talk about. And then some other things came up in the news, other things came up in our culture, and I really wanted to talk about that. So the quick comment today and the main subject today are going to tie in together because it's a topic that I think is really relevant. It's deeper than I think most people are talking about, and it exposes some of the nonsense that people in the extremes are trying to perpetuate. That's the P word I'm looking for. Perpetuate into our culture. And that's just... Bleh. Anyways, so let's jump right into the quick comment today. I want to talk about the Simone Biles withdrawal from the U.S. gymnastics, the Olympics. And I want to talk about it not because I want to talk about Simone Biles or her choice. I want to talk about what came after that. Now, this episode is going to air several weeks after this whole ordeal. I filmed these things in advance, so who knows what this will look like however many weeks from now. But that's not the point, because this issue goes beyond the Olympics itself. It goes beyond the moment itself, because there's a thing underneath all of this that is always relevant, and that's what we're going to talk about. So for those that don't know, who don't follow the Olympics, I used to follow the Olympics. I mean, just dedicated. Every 4 years, the summer, the Olympics, let's go. I love the Olympic Games. I love what they represent. They represent the ideal, right? They represent what is possible in both the human mind and the human form, the human capacity to do and to be and to achieve. Like, it's just, I love everything about it. I love what's possible. I think about guys like Jesse Owens that just blew the world open with their athletic talent and their mental capacity. And it's one of the things I love about the Olympics. And even now, you're seeing the Olympics become something that's less than what they could be. And that's unfortunate. So I say all of that because I love the Olympics, and I love watching these athletes put their best on the line to represent their country with great pride, great joy, great honor. It's just, every athlete from every country, they're just, I love the Olympics. I don't even have words for it. But this year the Olympics has been bleh. And that's not on the athletes. That's on the media. That's on political commentators. That's on politics. It's all on the wokeism. It's all that garbage. And so the Olympics, but there's been some really cool things. But this whole Simone Biles controversy, I don't know. Is it a controversy? Maybe not. I don't think so. But this whole Simone Biles ordeal isn't about Simone Biles, and it isn't even about her choice. So for those who don't watch the Olympics, I came back to my original point here. For those that don't watch the Olympics, Simone Biles, and I'm going to say this really clearly, because one, it needs to be said. Two, it ought to be said. And three, I don't want to be taken as a misogynistic jerk, which is ridiculous. But I'm going to say it out loud, clearly. Simone Biles is probably, if not the single greatest female gymnast ever. Then she's got to be at the very top of greatest female gymnasts ever. She is phenomenal. What this woman can do athletically, mentally, is incredible. Mind-blowingly amazing. She's a phenomenal athlete. And it has been awesome to watch her compete in the Olympics every time that she does. This year, though, after the competition began, she decided to quit. And there's a lot, it's even now it's hard to get what is the actual reason why she decided to quit. And really deep down inside, I don't care. The why. I don't care why she quit. I think it's unfortunate that she felt she needed to quit. Now, if there's a medical, physical, I've heard a couple of things that might be true. There's this, I don't even know what to call it, but there's this thing that happens in the brain where when a gymnast goes up, they lose orientation in the air, and so it's really hard for them to land. And if that's the case, then by all means, please don't do the 84 twists in the air that you do and then land on your neck. That would be awful. Nobody wants that. And if that's why she felt she needed to step down, then I get it. But I don't know. I'm not Simone Biles, obviously. Her friend, her coach, her therapist, her doctor, her mom, her daddy. I'm not anywhere even in the same, we come from the same country and that's about it. This might be the only thing we have that intersects. So I don't know. I don't know why she quit. I'm not in her headspace. I don't know what her decision. I think it's unfortunate, and I think it's sad that she felt she needed to quit for whatever reason. That's unfortunate. And I don't think she's a villain. Okay, she quit. She stopped representing the U.S. in gymnastics. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's a bummer. I feel sad for her because, who trains that hard to go to that level and then quit? I can't. I used to run track and field in high school and in college, and I never made it past, a normal division meet, district meet, whatever. And, there's no way I would have quit, barring some serious medical thing or whatever. So I can't even imagine what it would be like to make it to that level and then have to quit. So all that said, I don't think she's a villain for quitting. Some people are out there, oh, she shouldn't have quit. She's representing the U.S., blah, 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 blah. Okay, maybe you have a point. Maybe not. It's not for us to decide, honestly. It's not that's her deal. She decided to train as hard as she could and then do the deal and then quit. Okay, that's her choice. But I also don't think she's a hero. I think she's a person that made a decision that she has to live with, good, bad, or otherwise. And the real thing that I want to get to, the real topic, the underlying thing that I think needs to be discussed is what the legacy corporate media is doing with all of this. Because they are attempting to perpetuate the victimhood mentality so that they can remain in their position of power, authority, and wealth. That's how I see it. I might be wrong. Maybe they really are do-gooder, altruistic, superhuman journalists. Maybe. Not. But what they're doing is perpetuating this idea that if you're unhappy with something or you just don't like what you're doing, then it's actually heroic to quit. We're turning heroism into victimhood and victimhood into heroism. Oh, things are hard for you. You should give up. 'cause then you'll be a hero. No, that's not how it works at all. Like, like apply that reasoning, apply that logic to any of the Marvel movies, right? I mean, I love the Marvel movies. Captain America is my jam. If I was gonna be anybody, it just everything about. Anyway, we almost rabbit trailed there. I'm holding it together. Okay, but the point is, apply that logic to any of the Marvel movies. Nobody would have spent any money on these movies because nobody goes to hear a story about a hero where the hero's like, you know what? Hey, Tony, like this whole fight with Loki is real hard and I don't feel so good. So I'm going to quit. Have fun. Have a good time. Like, I can't even imagine like what Rotten Tomatoes would do to a Marvel movie where that was heroism. Can you imagine? Yes, fellas. Well, this deal is very challenging and I am not in the right frame of mind to do this. So I'm going to quit. Now, again, like I know I'm using the same language that Simone Biles used in some of her interviews, and this is not in any way a knock on her decision, her choice. But what the media is attempting to do is they are attempting to flip what we believe to be true about heroics. And nobody is heroic when they give up because it's hard. Period. Quitting is not heroic. It doesn't make you a villain, right? Let's clear that. Let's try to stay in the middle of a balanced perspective here, but quitting doesn't make you awesome either. Heroes are... Ow! Sorry. A fire ant bit my foot. Yes, I'm out here barefoot, and the ants got me. Okay, anyways. Quitting doesn't make you heroic. Quitting is a choice where you allow the circumstance to dictate your actions versus your actions dictating the circumstance. And that's what I want to talk about in our main thing today, is this idea of developing your perseverance. Because as men, perseverance is a necessity. Now, yes, for my ladies out there that are watching this, it is as much necessary for women as it is for men, but this is a podcast for men, and I want to talk about why perseverance is necessary for men. So it's not anti-woman. Haters. Anyways, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how to develop your perseverance, how to become dauntless. So I love that word. If you're familiar with the Enneagram, you know that word dauntless is out there as a descriptor for one of the types. I love that word. How to become dauntless, right? And to do that, you have to develop like crazy perseverance. Your perseverance has to be just next level. And I really believe that the next however many years that all of this insanity lasts. My son is peeking out at me through the window. I love him. He's so cool, man. Good morning, son. I really believe that the next 1 to 10 years is going to require a generation of men that are perseverant beyond normal capacity. So how then do you get there, right? Well, let's define what perseverance is. And I like to keep it, man, as an old minister used to say, like cornbread English, like just simple, okay? Perseverance is the willingness to push forward in an endeavor regardless of the situation or how you feel about it. Period. That's perseverance. And if you're going to be perseverant, I hope that's a word because I like that and I might be making it up, but perseverant. If you're going to be perseverant, that means you have to do hard stuff. You have to put yourself in a situation where it's where it's difficult, but quitting isn't an option. And you have to know going into it that quitting is not an option. So, for example, marriage. Marriage is a situation where you have to go into it knowing whether or not you're going to give up. My parents, bless them for all of the things that they would tell you they did wrong. One thing that I have watched my parents do, like they just celebrated 40 FOURTY years of marriage. And I can tell you, in today's culture, that's a long freaking time. And it's a long time to be married. And some people say, well, when just two people don't love each other anymore, they should just give up on my neighbors, they should just give up on their marriage and be done. And, that's that whole mentality that the media tries to perpetuate. Dang it, I keep doing that. Keeps perpetuating. This idea of when it gets hard, you should give up. And that's not it at all. My parents went into their marriage with the commitment that they weren't going to quit. There would be no quitting. There would be no divorce. There would be no giving up. My wife and I, coming up on 17 years, which feels like a long time, and then I compared to my parents. So this is a drop in the bucket. We went into our marriage with the determination that no matter what, quitting was not an option. Till death do us part. Period. And I will tell you, it takes perseverance. I think one of the reasons we have so many fatherless homes, that's a topic for another day, but one of the reasons we have so many fatherless homes is because we don't have men who are willing to persevere no matter what. And I think there are very simply two things. I'm trying to keep away from three because I seem to do a lot of things in threes. But this is true. I really believe there are only two things you need to do in order to persevere. To develop your perseverance in such a way that giving up and quitting is not an option. No matter what. Period. End of discussion. And the first thing that you have to do is you have to commit to the task for a duration. That has to be determined in and of itself before you enter into the task itself, the thing itself. My wife and I, we set a period of time by which we would do our marriage, and that was to death. Period. Now, no, not every task you enter into needs to be unto death, right? But I really picked this up from Ryan Michler in Order of Man, because he talked about when he started his podcast, he said, I'm going to do this podcast come hell or high water, no matter what, for, I think it was 2 years. I think that's what he said. I'm going to do this for 2 years. And that inspired me to make the same commitment. Like, I'm new at this thing. I'm figuring it out. I've had a heck of a morning. My boom arm broke. One of my earphone pieces doesn't work. I almost spilled my coffee, and there was bird poop on my table. Like, that was how things got started when I sat down. But for 2 years, Ryan Michler committed to doing Order of Man. No matter what. That is step number one to developing your perseverance. Commit to an amount of time by which you will do whatever is necessary and you will not quit. A similar principle like when you think about things like getting healthy or getting fit or changing your diet or changing your mental state. You have to commit to an amount of time. I started going to the gym back in March, I think. And I wasn't like unhealthy. I wasn't squishy. But I wasn't as strong or as fit as I wanted to be. But I also knew going to the gym at 5 a.m. 3 days a week with 1 day on Saturday that was not 5 a.m. Like, that was going to suck for a certain amount of time. And I wasn't going to see the results that I wanted. And so the hard work minus the results was going to make this thing a challenge. But I said, no, it doesn't matter. I'm going to commit for at least 1 year to train 4 days a week. Period. And so far, I'm holding up to that. I'm coming in on 5 months, and I love it. Love it. And that's the thing. Like, most of the time, guys quit when it gets hard, and they don't stick around long enough to actually enjoy the fruit of their... Get off me. They don't get to enjoy the fruit of their hard work. You quit when it gets hard, when the thing that you really want to enjoy is just on the other side of that thing that's difficult. The two go hand in hand. You don't get all the benefits and the joy and the fun without all the suck. But you have to work through what sucks before you can move on and enjoy the good things, right? So that's number one. You have to commit to an amount of time. How long are you going to do this thing that you know is difficult without the option of quitting? There is no quit. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, you have to have a reason for doing what you're doing. Simon Sinek would call it a why. You have to have a why. That man's word. He is on my list of people I want to interview. And if somehow this makes it to your desk, Simon Sinek, I'm sending you an email at some point. I would love to sit down with you. Okay. Number two, you have to have a why. You have to have a reason for doing what you're doing, because if you do not have a why, you will quit. And your why has to go beyond yourself. It has to go beyond your present situation. It has to go beyond your present state of mind. It has to go beyond everything that has to do with you. And it has to be about something outside of you that's bigger than you. And here's why that is. Everything that you create as a reason that is self-absorbed, self-centered. I want to look better. I want to have big muscles. Whatever. Whatever your reason is, if it is only about you, then what happens is your broken nature versus your desire go head to head in conflict, and almost always your broken nature will win because it is the thing you are most habituated toward. Doing the thing that's difficult and developing perseverance is the newer thing, almost always. And then when that comes up against your habits, if you do not have a reason that's beyond you, your habits will take over and you will quit. Fundamentally believe that to be true. So let me give you some examples of some whys. Why I do things. Now, I have a greater overarching why, and at some point I'm going to talk about that. But let's use this podcast as an example. My why for doing this goes beyond me. I want to empower men to live life to the fullest so that the future our kids grow up in is better, not worse. And in order to have a better future for our kids, we have to have better men. That's one half of the equation. Yes, we need better women also, but I'm not a woman, so I can't speak to what it's like to become a better woman. And no matter what they tell you, men can't be women and women can't be men. Let's just throw that out there while we're here, and we'll just piss everybody off. Sorry, wheezy laugh. Anyways, the point is you have to have a why beyond yourself. So my why for this podcast, the thing that keeps me going, even though sweat is rolling down my back right now and I'm uncomfortable, I don't like this chair, my boom arm broke. I don't even know if the wind is messing up the microphone right now. I'm having to film outside because I don't live in a space that has enough space for me to record. I don't care because the mission, the thing that I want to do goes beyond me and my discomfort. What are you willing to be uncomfortable for? That's the thing that becomes your why. I go to the gym every day so that I can be healthy. But my why for that goes beyond me because my son has every intention of going out into the world and saving as many endangered animals as he can. That's his life goal. He's known that since he was 4. His goal in life is to save as many animals as possible. And I know that when he goes out into the world to do that, I'm going to be in my 50s because we started later when we had kids. And when he goes out to adventure in the world, I want to go with him if he invites me to go. I'm not going to force myself to go with him. But if he comes to me and says, Dad, I'm going to fill in the blank country to save this fill in the blank animal, and I want you to go with me, I want to be able to be like, yeah, give me that 90-pound pack. Let's go. I'm fit. I'm ready. Let's do this. That's what I want. That's why I go to the gym every day. That's what gets me up at 5 a.m. when my eyes hurt, my body hurts, and everything in me says, hey, man, just lay down. It'd be better if you just quit on this ordeal. No, because then I'm sacrificing something better in the future for a weak moment in the present, and that's stupid. You have to have a why that goes beyond you. Otherwise, you cannot do the things that are necessary to develop perseverance. You cannot become a person, you cannot become a man who will lay his life down for his community, his family, his friends, if you don't have perseverance. And you cannot develop perseverance without those two things. That was really, really good. And I say that because I believe if you'll adopt those two principles and you'll do those two things, you will put yourself in situations that suck and are hard and require your commitment for a long period of time. You can develop your perseverance. And if you develop your perseverance, you will become a man who can do anything. The sky is the limit when you have perseverance. Because then you can look at any activity, you can look at any requirement, you can look at any goal, anything you got going on at work, anything you have going on at home, anything that you have anywhere in your sphere of influence. When you have perseverance, none of those things can keep you from achieving what you want to achieve. It's that simple. So men, go out there and develop your perseverance. And this is your action step for the day. Like, what is something today that you can commit to for a period of time with a why that goes beyond yourself that will develop your perseverance and make the world better? Write it down and do it. Like that's it. Do stuff. To develop your perseverance, you have to do stuff that's hard for a period of time for a reason that goes beyond yourself. That's it. Man, it has been a great morning. Hope you found this valuable. I hope you do something with it, because information without action is pointless. And I hope it changes how you do life for the better. So until next time, men, get out there and pursue life to the fullest. Cheers, guys.